Found out my boyfriend is actually married with 2 kids. I met a guy in the Navy a year ago who was an absolute sweetheart. Treated me better than anyone had before, brought me flowers, all that cute everyone wants. I went to visit him over the weekend. We had a great time, and today, 2 days after I got home, I got this lovely message request on Facebook. Hello, I believe you and I have someone in common, and this person has probably told you a story like I'm a crazy ex out for revenge or some type warning to not communicate with me because. I say this because it's not the first time. Which is why I'm contacting you like this to avoid you being influenced by seeing my profile and ignore me. I'm not crazy, just passionate about not getting lied, tricked, or cheated on. I noticed your interactions with Name here on Facebook to my surprise since he told he deactivated his act. I also seen your texts and pics from this weekend, and I thought you should know he and I are not only in a relationship, we live together, we're married. I called him immediately. He told me to text him. I asked him who the girl was, and he told me not to respond and he'll call me when he gets out of work. I'm well aware he is going to just try to spin it into exactly what she said, that she's just crazy and I should ignore her. I believe everything she said. Of course, I answered her, and we've been comparing stories and she's confirmed a lot of things I've been suspicious of. I'm just not sure how to cope/feel/handle this. I feel awful and like an idiot. I should have seen the signs and I didn't because I liked him so much. Obviously, I will be cutting contact. Anyone else ever found out their S/O was actually married? How do you deal with it? Update. I've been in contact with the wife all day, telling her everything and comparing stories/information. He did call me, where he tried to somehow twist this into my fault, saying his marriage is none of my business, to which I told him to go catch an STD and have a great life. He tried to call me an hour or two later to apologize. I'm done with him. There was never a question about that, but I am still thoroughly upset. Mao. Story 2. My longtime friend, 31/M, hates my girlfriend, 30/F, and I, M/31. I'm afraid he will go nuclear and try to break us up. My friend is someone who I have known for 16 years. He's admittedly not the greatest person in the world, womanizer, can be quite arrogant at times, but he is quite smart and successful, and he works for a top-tier firm and is highly career-motivated. We've done everything together since we were in high school and are still quite close, although, of course, as we've gotten older we see each other a fair bit less than we used to. I'm also pretty career-motivated and work for a pretty good company and make good money. I only mention this because it will factor into what's been going on. My girlfriend is lovely, and we've been together now for 2.5 years. She's quite different to my friend and myself in that she's just a secretary for a small-sized company and not super career-motivated. And that's totally fine for me. She's sweet, a great cook, and she simply makes me happy. We had a bit of a rough patch earlier this year, but things are back on the up and up, and we are talking about marriage and moving back to my home country, USA, next year. Basically, my friend has grown to hate my girlfriend to an irrational degree. For the first year and a half or so, he was positive about her, very complimentary of her, and thought we were a good pairing. Of course, whenever myself and my girlfriend would get into arguments, I came to him to vent, complain, etc. And he would propose solutions or just let me bend his ear. This was all fine and well until back in August when me and the girlfriend were really struggling, and it looked like we might break things off. From then on, even after we addressed our issues and patched things up, he has been 100% against us being together. He will refer to her with horribly rude names. She's an animal, she's such a loser, get a better girl who can make more money, etc. Obviously, none of this is okay with me, and I have told him several times to stop talking about her in that manner, but he won't let up. It's all starting to come to a boiling point now, as the last couple of days he has delivered an ultimatum to me that he will no longer be my friend as long as I am with her. Frankly speaking, that's an easy decision for me and I will choose my girlfriend 10 times out of 10, but I am okay to lose his friendship if these are the terms that he's presenting me and I wouldn't even think twice. The one thing I am worried about is if I straight up tell him to take a hike. He might go nuclear and try to destroy my relationship with my girlfriend anyway. I think he would do this by telling her some of the things I used to do when I was single, as I used to be a bit of a playboy before I started dating. I have a pretty high body count and I am sure he has the receipts from a few wild nights out we had. My girlfriend does not like guys like that at all, and while it's of course not right for me to hide this aspect of my past from her, I am fairly confident that if he did this and exposed the person I used to be before I met her, she would end things in no uncertain terms. I really don't know what to do. I have been trying to neutralize him as much as I can by telling him he's my brother, that I will always be there for him even when I am married, etc. But I don't see him backing down from this ultimatum. I think if I give in and tell him that I choose my girlfriend over him, he might get super emotional and just take things into his own hands. Story 3. My girlfriend, 19F, told me, 20M, I've been making her feel guilty for a while. So I guess a little backstory, myself and her have been in a relationship for just over 3 years, celebrating our anniversary not too long ago. We moved to doing long distance at the start of August due to her moving away for uni, and we have managed things fairly well. Of course, there is a big adjustment period. Things started out fine. I helped her move away and stayed for a while. We went out with some new people in her class, and I wanted to support her in making new friends as I understood moving away from home would be challenging. I always have supported her choice to move away for college. I bought her a few gifts to try help make things easier, such as AirPods and that, and every weekend I give her some money to get a takeout so we can enjoy a meal together over FaceTime. I feel done my best in supporting her. So after my short stay with helping her move, I had to come home as I had started attending uni in our hometown. During this time, I lost a very close family member, which was a lot to deal with, but I tried to push things aside and not put things on her as I always thought she would have it more difficult having being the one who had to move. I'm not one for parties or meeting people for drinks for the sake of drinking, so most of my time consists of uni work, going to the gym, or basically waiting for her to be free so we could call and such. She started going to parties and going out quite a lot, which I never said her not to go, but I had just asked her to let me know how things were going and if she was okay, and when she got back into her apartment to call and let me know. I had assumed she would still want to make time for talking with me. I'm quite an anxious person and just asked for little things that would calm my nerves. This is never about not having trust in her, as I feel like I wouldn't do long distance with someone who I didn't fully trust. This started okay, but then it got to the stage where she wasn't answering my messages for hours on end while out for a night, leaving me feeling like I was forgotten about because in my head it wasn't that hard to send a quick text saying that things were fine or she was having a good time. I went on my only night out of the semester a while ago, admittedly got a little drunk, and for the whole night couldn't stop texting her. Mainly that I missed her and wanted her to come home, and letting her know things were alright. I'm quite keen on just talking things out like adults instead of throwing a big argument. So I brought up how I felt about this one night, and how I was finding everything quite difficult, how we were spending even less time talking, and that when we did get a chance to call she seemed like she was uninterested or always tired. I took in about how she said she was still adjusting to things and didn't want to be on her phone while out with friends as it would be rude, and left it at that, being understanding. She was still going out with her new friends quite a bit, and I just felt left aside and felt that her relationship with me was in the background for a while, and she rather spent her time out with her friends. I sat on this for a while, as it felt like after the last time I brought it up it upset her, about how she seemed distant after nights out, and when there was nights she wasn't out it was the same. I was about to bring things up, but things got better. She seemed happy to call and play some games over the phone and other little things that mean a lot to me. It made me very happy, the fact she seemed she was enjoying time she was spending with me again. This is kind of where I'm at, and if I messed up, everything great up to yesterday. She messaged me that one of the guys, 21M, in her class had rented a car and she was gonna go for a drive with him. Initially, I thought it kind of weird that he rented a car and asked her to come for a ride, and I asked who else would be going. She said another guy might be coming too, but wasn't sure. I personally was a little uncomfortable with this and said it was a little weird that he just asked her to come and another guy. I didn't tell her not to go, but rather had said I feel a little uncomfortable around the whole situation. Why I felt and said I was uncomfortable was that, to me, from what I gathered at the start, she was asked by a guy who I presume knows she has a boyfriend on essentially a date. Long part of this story short, she ended up going along with another girl and the two guys. That didn't bother me, as I knew it wasn't a kind of date and was happy that she did go with her friends. She let me know when she got home, but after that didn't talk to me until that night. I called and asked her to be straight up because I knew she was angry at my reaction. There was to me a bit of miscommunication, as she said that she didn't know why I found it weird that her and her friends were going for a drive and didn't know how it would be weird if it was just him and her. I said I didn't know that at the time, as to me it was her and this other guy. We talked about it for a little bit, and eventually she said I had made her feel guilty about going. I asked if this was the first time I made her feel like that, and she said, no, not really. It's happened a few times before when she was going out with friends, but she didn't know how to communicate it. It kind of broke me to hear that, as I never really knew that's how I was making her feel. Rather, I thought I was just telling her my feelings about it all. She had said to me to at least understand a situation before making conclusions and to ask about the whole situation, which I take as valid advice and wholeheartedly understand. I love this girl so much. It breaks me to know how I made her feel like that when it was never an intention of mine. I don't know where to go from here. She is still mad at me, to which I accept, but I don't know how to approach it all from here. I don't want to upset her more. I had said it to her that I do keep things like this to myself, and I like to sort it out between us. I just need advice for me in this situation. What have I done wrong? How can I help it from happening again?